My beloved child, I must speak to you now while the heavens still rest beneath the veil of night, and the world breathes slowly, for when dawn breaks, the door of a new cycle will open, and all that you know will begin to shift. As the first light pours over the earth, you will realize that time waits for no one, and those who are unprepared will be swept away in the turning of destiny's wheel. I, your Father, who has watched every beat of your heart since the beginning, come not to plant fear, but to place in your hands the key that opens the path into the new day, a day where only the souls who know how to listen will stand firm. When you open your eyes in the morning, do not rush toward the familiar, the warmth of your bed, the cup of water by your side, or the unread messages awaiting you. Pause in that moment, that sacred instant when your soul has not yet been claimed by the noise of the world, and call upon me. For I am the light that walks before the sun, the flame that guides you while your consciousness still lingers between darkness and awakening. Let your first breath become a prayer, and your first thought be the awareness that you are enveloped in my boundless love. Stay awake in that breath, for it is the bridge between the earthly and the divine. Every beat of your heart is a small bell, reminding you that you still have a chance to love, to forgive, to change. My child, do not step into the new day with yesterday's habits. Habit dulls the soul and lulls it into spiritual sleep. Rise with awareness, as a warrior stands after a long night, knowing that each morning is a silent battlefield where the shadows of doubt, fear, and complacency wait to pull you back. But I am there, right beside you, in every breath, in every glimmer of light shimmering upon your window. Let me be the first warmth you reach for, the stream of water that cleanses your weary soul. You are never alone. Even when you think everyone has left, I remain. Within the very spaces you believe are empty. Tomorrow, the world will change. What you thought was stable will begin to tremble. What you believed was secure will be tested by fire. Yet do not fear, for this change is not a storm meant to destroy, but a wind sent to purify. I allow this wind to pass through your life not to strip you bare, but to free you from the old garments of pride, fear, and unfruitful routines. In this stirring, you will hear me, not in the clamor of the world, but in the soft whisper woven into silence. My child, when you rise in the morning, remember, you are not merely stepping into another day, but into a new season of your soul. Each dawn is an opportunity to rewrite the history of your heart. Begin with gratitude. Speak to me, not with elaborate words, but with a single sincere breath. Father, I am here. That alone is enough to open the gates of heaven and allow the light of grace to fill every corner within you. For when you remember me, first, the world falls back into its rightful order. Worry will no longer sit upon the throne of your mind, for when true light comes, darkness retreats on its own. Do not seek peace in outward things, for true peace is not found in circumstances but in my presence. When you realize this, you will understand that no day is ordinary, no moment meaningless. Every second lived in awareness of me is a moment made holy. Look back on the days that have passed. How many mornings have you rushed headlong into the whirlwind of tasks, forgetting that your soul also needs tending? You have sought success but lost your stillness. You have built much, yet neglected what lives within. But my child, I do not condemn you. I only remind you that no sunrise is ever too late for a new beginning. Even if the sun has already climbed high, if you turn and call upon me, I will still answer. I know there will be mornings when your heart feels heavy, when you do not wish to rise, when life seems drained of meaning. Yet it is in those mornings that I am nearest. When the soul is weak, that is when I am invited deepest. Give me your weariness. Do not hide it behind a smile. I do not ask you to be strong, I ask you to be real. For strength does not come from striving, but from surrendering in love. When you dare to be weak in my hands, I will transform that weakness into a strength the world cannot comprehend. My child, do not fear change. Change is not an enemy, but a companion that leads you toward a better version of yourself. Every movement in the universe has a purpose, and I have arranged everything in your life with the precision of a divine artisan. Though you may see chaos, I see order. Though you see coincidence, I see design. Though you see an ending, I see a beginning. So, trust when tomorrow comes, even if you do not know what awaits, for I, the author of every story, still hold the pen. You must understand that within you lies a power yet to be awakened. It does not dwell in intellect or talent, but in faith. Faith is the small flame that can light up the longest night. When the world extinguishes every hope, if you keep just one spark of faith, I will multiply it into a torch to guide your path. Believe that each time you fall, I do not turn away. I bend down to lift you up. Every stumble is an invitation to learn to rely on grace instead of your own strength. When you step outside in the morning, walk with awareness. See the world not through the eyes of fear, but through the gaze of one who knows they are loved. Every face you encounter is not a coincidence, but an opportunity to love, to reflect grace. Every challenge is not a punishment, but a lesson to help you grow. Every tear is not wasted, for it waters the soil where seeds of resilience are planted. And my child, when the evening falls and you look back on the day, do not only count what you failed to do. Remember that you lived, you loved, you believed, you fought. Let gratitude close your day like a song, for I see every small effort, every quiet step, every prayer whispered in the night. No drop within your soul is wasted, for I gather them all and weave them into something beautiful. Tomorrow may bring trials, but it will also bring chances for you to shine. The world may tremble, but your soul, if anchored in me, will stand firm like a rock amid the storm. When you learn to begin each day with me, you will find that even as circumstances change, peace within you remains unshaken. This is the greatest miracle of the spiritual life, not the absence of storms, but the stillness found within them. My child, remember this as a covenant. Before the sun rises, I am there. Before you open your eyes, I have been waiting. If you begin the day with me, you will end it in peace. Do not let the world teach you how to live. Let me teach you how to love, how to believe, how to breathe. For every breath you take is a reminder that grace is still flowing. Live as though every dawn were a renewed promise. Do not chase the light, become the light. Do not merely ask for peace, carry peace wherever you go. Do not wait for the world to change. Let me change you, and through you, I will change the world. My beloved child, I see the opportunity for you to discover a territory within yourself that you have never touched, the place of unawakened power. It is not an earthly force, but the undercurrent of grace that has been flowing through you since the day you were created. It lies still, not because it is weak, but because it awaits your yes. Humans often believe that strength is found in control, in mastering circumstances. But true strength is revealed when you dare to release, to surrender into the loving hands of the one who made you. When you stop striving to hold everything together, you will realize that grace has always been at work, gentle, quiet, yet never late. Like a river weaving through stone, grace moves through every limit you thought was final. Understand this, my child. In times of transition, grace does not remove the storm. It teaches you how to walk through it unafraid. To stand firm does not mean to be unmoved. It means learning balance amid the shaking. Like a tree growing against the wind, a soul matures not because the wind stops blowing, but because its roots have gone deep into the waters of faith and grace that is the water. It nourishes, seeps, and strengthens not loudly, but faithfully. I see in you a deep longing, a desire to be strong, to remain unshaken, to master the waves of change that come your way. But, my child, you were not called to control. You were called to cooperate. Cooperate with me, the one who is orchestrating everything to shape your soul into my likeness. To cooperate with grace means to walk in trust, even when the outcome is still unseen. Like a sower who does not dig up the soil each day to check the seed, you must simply water it and believe that life is sprouting quietly beneath the surface. Sometimes you think I am silent. That delay must mean abandonment. But, my child, my silence is not absence, it is the sacred space where grace works in the depths. When I do not speak, it is because I am engraving. When I do not act outwardly, it is because I am shaping inwardly. If I were to rush, you would only be changed on the surface. But I desire transformation at the root, that you may become light rather than merely seek it. There will be mornings when you awaken to find the world strangely unfamiliar, as though creation itself had shed its skin overnight. You will notice that what once gave comfort no longer satisfies, and what once delighted no longer fulfills. That is not loss, it is the signal of rebirth. When grace opens the door to what is new, the old will naturally fall away. You cannot hold both. The right hand must release so the left may receive. Do not fear when you feel yourself growing weaker, for sometimes that is the moment your soul is being freed from the illusion of self-sufficiency. Weakness is the threshold of miracles. When you stop relying on your own strength, you make room for my power to flow through you. You may think you are failing, but in truth, you are being repositioned. I am moving you from shifting sand to solid rock, to faith, to steadfastness, to unchanging grace. And this, my child, is what I want you to understand deeply. The dormant power within you is not awakened by striving, but by surrender. When you whisper, "Lord, I cannot, but you can," the inner door opens, and the Spirit begins to move. Every calling, every gift, every potential I placed within you waits for that single moment, the moment when the soul bows before love. Grace is not a reward reserved for the flawless. It is a river that flows toward the thirsty. It seeks out hearts weary of effort, souls humble enough to admit their need for a greater hand. When you lift your eyes and say, "Father, help me," I do not merely assist, I accompany. Grace does not only mend, it transforms. It does not merely patch, it recreates. In this season of transition, your soul will learn the sacred lesson of trust, to believe even when you do not understand, to keep walking when the path is hidden, to stand firm when feelings no longer agree. True faith is not a sensation, but a decision to remain rooted in the storm, simply because you know the one in whom you believe. When you hold fast to faith, grace will complete the rest. You do not need to make the sun rise. You only need to keep your heart turned toward the east. You will see, as you cooperate with grace, that everything begins to change. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you will ask, "Lord, what are you teaching me through this?" Instead of praying for the storm to end, you will pray for the strength to stand firm within it. Instead of searching for shortcuts, you will learn the patience to walk the whole journey. It is within this shift of vision that grace works most powerfully. I know that some changes terrify you: loss, new work, changing seasons, broken relationships. But my child, no change escapes my plan. Every breaking, when placed in my hands, becomes a piece in a greater masterpiece. Just as a grain of wheat must break to sprout, so must you pass through breaking to become abundant. I take no pleasure in your pain, but I know that through pain your soul expands. And when you find yourself standing at a crossroads, unsure where to go, remember this: grace does not merely guide your steps, it makes you capable of walking. It grants wisdom to discern, strength to move, and peace to stay still when needed. And here is the wonder: when you take one step in faith, you will discover that grace has already gone before you, preparing the way. My beloved child, I want you to begin a new habit. Whenever fear rises within you, pause and say, "Lord, I choose to trust." In that very moment, a hidden strength begins to awaken. It does not arrive like thunder, but hums quietly like a steady current. It does not boast, but endures. You will soon discover that true power does not dwell in a shout, but in the stillness anchored in faith. Grace moves to the rhythm of heaven, unhurried, unhindered, serene. If you learn to flow with that rhythm through prayer, through listening, through gratitude, you will stand firm amidst every upheaval. Let your soul become an open chamber where grace may come and go freely. Do not lock the door with doubt. Do not veil the windows with fear. Open yourself, and you will see that the dawn does not merely illuminate the world outside, but also floods your inner being with light. When you cooperate with grace, you will realize that even change itself is a gift. It pulls you away from the comfort of the familiar into the territory of trust. It weans you from the dependence on emotion so that you may live by faith. It takes away what is fleeting to give what is eternal. Each time you whisper, "Yes, Lord," another door within your spirit swings open and grace flows more freely. My child, you were not created merely to survive, you were born to shine. Yet light only appears when fire is kindled, and fire is only kindled through friction. Do not fear the friction, for it ignites the radiance within your soul. Every trial is not sent to destroy, but to give birth. When I allow the wind to blow, it is so your fire may blaze stronger. When I allow the night to linger, it is so your dawn may rise brighter. Step into the new day not with fear, but with expectation. Believe that every change carries within it a seed of blessing. Believe that every loss is an invitation to wholeness. And when you can no longer make sense of the path, remember faith does not require understanding to keep walking. For I, the one who leads you, do not change, even when the world does. And one day, when you look back, you will see that every turn, every shadowed night, every sunrise bore my fingerprints. You will understand that grace is not only something you receive, but something you become. You will learn to live, not to escape storms, but to become a shelter for others within them. That is when your soul will truly stand firm, not because you are strong, but because grace has taken root in you. My beloved, you will hear the world stir with noise, overlapping voices, clashing sounds, the chatter of others, and even the whisper within yourself. Do not fear those sounds, nor assume they have come to shatter your peace. They are merely the backdrop of the grand symphony I am composing upon your life. Not every note is sweet. Some are low and heavy, others rush in tumult, yet all return to a single theme, the awakening of your soul. What you call chaos, I call a necessary stirring. No soil can yield fruit unless it is first broken. Likewise, no soul can mature unless it is shaken. You often pray for peace, but true peace is not the silence of the wind, it is the stillness you hold within the wind. If you wish to be light, you must learn to stand in the storm without going out, and to do that you must understand the storm is not your enemy, but a secret teacher I have sent to train you. Every noise, every disturbance, every conflict you encounter carries a sacred message. When others wound you, I am teaching you compassion. When you are misunderstood, I am teaching you humility. When you are abandoned, I am teaching you that I am the one who never leaves. This is how I shape your soul, not through comfort, but through confrontation. You ask to be strong, so I send challenge. You ask to love deeply, so I allow heartbreak. You ask to have steadfast faith, so I let you walk through fog. Every lesson is written in the language of adversity. My child, there will be moments when you feel swallowed by the noise of the world, by words, fears, and doubts crashing like waves. But do not mistake this. The roar of the storm has no power to silence my voice unless you stop listening. When the world grows loud, retreat into the quiet within the place where only you and I exist. That is the sanctuary of encounter. There, the noise becomes the harmony of stillness, and chaos turns into the raw material of grace. You will come to see that I do not need to still the wind to speak to you. I only need you to turn your heart toward me amid the wind. My child, do not seek to flee from your trials. Let every storm be your teacher, every shadow your classroom. When you face opposition, ask, Lord, what are you teaching me here? For the hidden lesson is not in the circumstance, but in your response. Each time you choose calm over reaction, love over resentment, faith over doubt, you are widening your soul's capacity to cooperate with grace. And when your soul learns this, you will discover nothing can defeat the one who knows how to find light even in the night. You still think of light as something that comes from the outside, a ray descending from the heavens to illuminate the earth. But, my child, the light I speak of dwells deep within you. It does not shine because circumstances are favorable. It shines because it springs from my very nature, which was planted in you from the beginning. Every time darkness surrounds you, it becomes an opportunity to see that inner light more clearly. Without the night, how would you know that the stars still shine? Without pain, how would you discover your heart's capacity to forgive? In the same way, without the wind, how would your soul know it has wings? Do not fear the truth, my child. Truth can burn, but its fire is not meant to destroy, it is meant to refine. When you allow my light to touch the hidden corners of your heart where anger, pride, and unforgiveness dwell, you will feel the sting. Yet that pain is the pain of healing. Just as a goldsmith melts gold to separate the impurities, I use the fire of truth to purify your soul. If you avoid that light for fear of being scorched, you will never be made pure. But if you dare to stand still, to let the flame do its work, you will shine brighter than you ever thought possible. You often ask me to break the chains that bind you from the outside, fear, circumstances, failure. Yet the strongest chains lie within the mind, illusions of control, of safety, of understanding. But my child, you are not called to understand. You are called to trust, not to hold on, but to surrender. When you release your need to know it all, you finally open yourself to receive grace. For grace cannot flow through a clenched fist, it only flows through open hands. Awakening, my child, does not come through peace and ease. It comes when you dare to see without covering your eyes, to listen without judgment, to move forward even when you cannot see the path. It is not a single grand moment, but a series of small choices, choosing love over resentment, patience over haste, forgiveness over pain. Each time you choose such a path, you awaken the sacred strength within you, the power no storm can extinguish. When I say, do not shrink back, I do not ask you to be hard or unfeeling. I only ask that you do not close your heart to grace, for when you shrink back out of fear of pain, you also close the door to joy. When you avoid the dark, you also turn away from the light. The doors of heaven do not open to those who hide, but to those who are honest, those who can look within and say, I need saving. That simple confession is the key that unlocks every miracle. Do you know, my child, that the strongest souls are not those who have never been broken, but those who allow light to pass through their cracks? The perfection the world praises is a smooth surface with no place for light to enter. But I do not seek that kind of perfection. I seek souls who can bow low, who can weep, who can open. For only there can grace seep deep. And when you face the storm, remember this: no storm lasts forever. Storms come to cleanse and awaken, and then they move on. But after each storm, your soul will not be the same. It will listen more carefully, love more freely, and trust more deeply. You will realize that the peace I promised is not peace before the storm, but peace within it, a peace that lets the wind blow while you stand firm, that lets the waves rise but you do not sink. This is the mark of one who has been forged by light. When you look around and everything seems to fall apart, look up. When the light outside fades, look within. For there, I keep a lamp that never goes out. It may be small, but it is true, and a single true flame in the dark is enough to guide a multitude. My child, I am teaching you to become that lamp, not dazzling, but steadfast. There will be times when you ask, "Why must it be so hard?" And I will answer, "Because I am building in you a foundation that cannot be shaken." If a gentle breeze can make you falter, how could you carry the greater light I am preparing to entrust to you? If you cannot find stillness amid noise, how will you hear my voice among the world's chaos? The storms are not sent to punish, but to prepare. Each time you endure one, you are not only stronger, you are deeper, more real, more alive. And, my child, remember this: no one stands firm alone. You stand because I uphold you, because grace sustains you, because love surrounds you. When you feel alone, close your eyes and call my name. In that very moment, you will sense a gentle warmth touching your heart that is me. When you tremble, say, "Lord, I am weak." And you will feel strength flowing through you, not loud, not dramatic, but like cool water seeping into dry ground. That is how grace works quietly, yet irresistibly. So, do not fear the noise, do not fear the confusion, do not fear when your faith seems to waver. Every time you feel yourself shaken, remember that a tree only knows how deep its roots go when the real wind comes. Do not wish for the storm to cease. Learn to breathe with it. For when you can breathe within the wind, you will know that you are living in grace. And one day, when you look back, you will smile. You will see that everything that once frightened you has become a refuge of wisdom. You will understand that the noise that once unsettled you has become the rhythm of peace. You will realize that not a single moment of your life was wasted, for each one was a lesson written by the hand of your Father, shaping you into a steadfast, radiant soul that knows how to love without condition. My beloved child, the first step is always the hardest, not because you lack strength, but because it asks you to believe in an unseen hand that is holding you. When you begin to walk, the ground may seem to tremble beneath your feet, yet in that very instant, I have already laid a firm foundation so that you will not fall. Be courageous and step forward, not because you know everything, but because you know that I am there, in every breath, every heartbeat, every subtle movement of your soul. You do not need to see the whole path, you only need to see me in the light of the next step. Each time you choose to rise, heaven records the harmony between your will and my plan. There is a sacred rhythm flowing through the days of your life, like a quiet melody that only those whose ears belong to the Spirit can hear. This rhythm is not measured by the drums of the world, but by the heartbeat united with mine. When you open your eyes each morning, your first breath is not just a sign of life, it is a reminder that I am still here. Pause, breathe deeply, and know that the air you inhale is my gift. The breath you take, the light streaming through your window, the song of the morning birds, all are part of the symphony of grace. Nothing is random, no moment is trivial. Every movement, even the smallest, is proof that I am nearer than you think. When you learn to recognize miracles in small things, your eyes will open to see me in greater ones. Many seek me in thunder, in the whirlwind, in grand wonders, yet I choose to dwell within the gentle breeze. I am in the soft breath, in the slanted light through the window, in the steady rhythm of a peaceful heart. Do not wait for dazzling miracles. Your daily awakening is the greatest miracle of all. When you give thanks for breath, you are partaking in my life. When you smile in the midst of a hard day, you are declaring the triumph of life over adversity. When you choose to love even while afraid, you are lighting up a darkness that you cannot yet see. I know sometimes you think these things are too small to be called sacred. But, my child, it is within smallness that I hide myself. Just as the mustard seed holds the whole kingdom, and a drop of water reflects the sky, every ordinary thing you encounter carries my imprint. Learn to see the world with anointed eyes, to find me in a child's laughter, in the stillness of the afternoon, even in the unseen tears of a lonely heart. When you perceive me in these things, you are not merely aware of me, you are united with me. Union does not happen in bursts of ecstasy within temples, but in the quiet rhythms of the room where you dwell. And when you begin to live in that awareness, the world around you will seem transformed, not because it has truly changed, but because you now see it through new light. What once wearied you becomes an opportunity to practice gratitude. What once disappointed you becomes a lesson in endurance. Even the silences, those moments when it seems as though I have withdrawn, will become sacred spaces where your soul quiets enough to hear my heartbeat pulsing with yours. This is what those who rush through life cannot comprehend, that sometimes my silence is not absence, but invitation for you to learn how to listen with your heart, not merely with your ears. Begin each day with a conscious choice to open your heart and recognize me in the smallest details. Give thanks for the breath you draw, for the light that filters through the window, for the sound of footsteps passing by, for the scent of morning coffee, for the rain that falls upon the tiles. When you begin with gratitude, you will find me everywhere, and when you see me, fear will lose its grip, for fear cannot dwell where love is known. Perfect love casts out fear, because true love opens the eyes of the soul to see that nothing can ever separate you from me. Do you know why I ask you to start with small things? Because only in the small can your soul be trained to remain tender. Great deeds often breed pride, but in small ones you learn the subtle art of obedience. When you give thanks for a single breath, you are learning to trust me in the mysteries you do not understand. When you recognize me in the gentle breeze, you will recognize me in the storm. When you find me in the stillness, you will not fear when the world grows loud. You will become one who can hear my voice amid chaos, one who knows that peace does not come from circumstance, but from the presence that never departs. And tomorrow, that call will become clearer, stronger, for every time you respond, the channel between your soul and heaven widens a little more. You need not fear that you do not hear me clearly enough. What matters is not how much you hear, but how you respond. Every act of love, every word of forgiveness, every peaceful breath, each one is your yes to my voice. When you live in that response, you will see that there is no boundary between prayer and living, between the sacred and the ordinary. Everything becomes worship. Every act can be an offering when it is done in the awareness that I am here. My beloved, rise with that courage. Do not wait for perfection. Do not wait for certainty. Do not fear the fog before you. Just walk step by step, breath by breath, moment by moment, and I will take care of the rest. You cannot control the direction of the wind, but you can raise your sail. Let me be the wind that carries you. Trust that every small step you take today is part of the greater picture I am painting. And one day, when you look back, you will see that the trembling, uncertain steps you once thought meaningless were the very ones that led you to the place your soul has longed for all along, the place where I wait, with open arms. Listen deeply, my child, not with your ears alone, but with your whole being. For there are truths that are never spoken aloud, yet they resound clearly in the innermost chambers of your soul. The world will not stop talking. It is noisy, tangled, and often mimics my voice. It whispers things that make you doubt yourself, that make you forget the quiet current of peace flowing beneath the surface of all that chaos. But step into silence, for only there can you hear the voice of the one who does not argue, who does not shout, who never forces, but simply invites. My voice never competes with noise. It is as gentle as a breath, yet strong enough to awaken what has long been asleep within you. Learn to discern the difference between silence and emptiness. Silence is not the absence of presence, but the space where presence can be felt. When you sit down and close the door to the world's noise, you will realize that I never left. I am still there in the light that softly spills through the window, in the steady rhythm of your heart, in the peace that defies explanation. Let the layers of thought noise settle, like silt sinking in clear water. Then you will see the bright stream of my spirit flowing within. And there, in that stillness, I speak not in words, but in knowing. The world will try to pull you away with information, with news, with waves of emotion. It will make you believe that silence is useless, that if you are not doing something, you are wasting time. But I tell you the truth, stillness is not laziness, it is the act of faith. For only the one who trusts that I am still working in silence dares to stop and listen. Think of the farmer who plants his seed. He cannot force the crop to grow faster. He can only tend the soil, water it, and wait. So it is with your soul. When you are still, you make room for the seed of my word to take root. Every word I plant in you needs the good soil of silence to grow deep. If the soil is constantly stirred by anxiety, doubt, and noise, the seed will wither before it ever sprouts. My beloved child, true listening is the art of love. You cannot truly love anyone without first learning to listen to them, and likewise, you cannot love me unless you learn to hear my voice. My voice does not come through drama. It carries no thunder, no storm, no lightning. It arrives like the breath of dawn, like the heartbeat within your sleep. It is so gentle that the impatient will miss it, but the humble in spirit will recognize it. I speak in the rhythm between your heartbeats, in the pause between your prayers, in the faint light that lingers between night and daybreak. Therefore, do not seek me in the noise and commotion. Seek me in the place where you can hear the sound of your own breathing. Tomorrow, your task is simple, yet it will require your whole soul. Be still enough to hear me. Turn off the world's invitations, even for a few minutes. Let your heart become a wordless sanctuary, where every breath becomes an act of worship. Do not expect to hear grand revelations. I often begin with very small things. It may be a quiet thought passing through your mind. Forgive. It may be a gentle nudge. Call that person. It may be a tender whisper. Do not be afraid. That is me. Do not doubt it. You will know it is my voice when peace follows it, even before you understand what it means. When you truly listen, you will realize that I do not command, I invite. My guidance is not a rope that drags, but a beam of light that reveals the way. It does not push you forward, but illuminates the path so that you may choose. Imagine a map not drawn in ink, but in light, one that reveals itself a step at a time as you walk. That is how I lead you. I do not hand you the full plan, for if you could see it all, you would no longer need faith. I give you light enough for today. Each time you follow, that light expands a little more, until one day you will see that your whole journey has become a painting crafted by my hand, intricate, gentle, and full of purpose. At times you may say, "But I hear nothing." Do not be afraid, for my silence too has a voice. There are seasons when I teach you to trust by faith, not by feeling. If you heard me all the time, you would depend more on the experience than on the relationship. So, there are times when I hide, not to punish you, but to help you mature. Like a father who lets go of his child, learning to walk not out of neglect, but out of trust. In the same way, when you cannot hear me, it is because I want you to learn that my presence does not rely on sound, but on promise. In the quiet, you will begin to discern the difference between my voice and the voice of fear. My voice always brings calm, even before your circumstances change. Fear's voice rushes and panics, making you lose your peace. My voice makes you gentle, patient, and full of love. Doubt's voice makes you close your heart. Remember this: I never speak in the language of regret, accusation, or fear. If a voice shames you or condemns you, that is not me. My voice always invites, always points forward, always brings light to the darkest corners of your being. Learn to linger longer in stillness. Do not leave just because you have not heard anything yet. Sometimes, I only want you to sit with me, not to receive words, but to learn to dwell in presence. For I am the Word, yes, but before all else, I am presence. You may sit quietly, say nothing, ask for nothing, just let your heart beat in rhythm with mine. In such moments, I do my deepest work, healing, aligning, and strengthening you in ways you cannot yet perceive. The seeds of grace always sprout in silence, and those who know how to listen are the ones who will see the first blossoms. You will discover that as you learn to hear me, your own way of speaking to the world will also change. You will speak less, but with more depth. You will react slower, but with more kindness. You will no longer rush to judge, because you know some things can only be understood in silence. The world will watch you remain calm in the middle of storms and ask, "How can you be so at peace?" You may smile and answer, "Because I know that even in the silence, God is speaking." And then, my child, when you have grown accustomed to living in the rhythm of this listening, you will no longer search for my voice as if it were distant. You will hear me in every movement of life, in the sound of running water, in footsteps crossing the street, in a stranger's laughter, in the warmth of sunlight touching your shoulder. Every day I will teach you to listen through new senses with your eyes, your hands, your breath, your faith. Then you will understand that the world is never loud enough to drown my voice. It is only loud enough to make you forget to listen. Continue, my child, each morning. Begin with a minute of stillness. You do not need to say anything. Simply let your silence speak the words, "Lord, I am here." Then wait. Wait until you sense a gentle light touching the depths within, or a quiet thought you know did not arise from yourself. Hold on to that whisper. Act upon it, even if it seems small. For from small callings, great journeys are born. From moments of silence, mighty missions are conceived. And with every pause you make to listen, heaven draws a little closer. My beloved one, do not remain forever standing at the threshold between knowing and doing, between hearing and stepping forward. There are seasons in the journey of faith when delay ceases to be wisdom and becomes bondage. When my call has sounded, when the sign has been made clear, when your soul has been awakened, hesitation becomes but the shadow of fear trying to keep you tied to the past. The time of waiting has passed. The season of action has come. Do not look around to see who will walk with you. Know only this: I go before you, and my shadow covers each of your steps. Rise not only in body but also in will and in faith. Stand up holy, as one who knows that every breath you take is part of an eternal design. When you rise, let your heart open wide like a window welcoming the dawn. Hold nothing back. Carry no luggage of doubt. Lay your hand upon the pulse of creation. Feel the sacred current flowing through every cell, every drop of blood, every breath you take. You are not apart from that rhythm. You are a part of it. Everything within you, your thoughts, emotions, and actions, possesses the power to echo into the infinite. Each choice, however small, sends a resonance through the holy expanse I have woven. Do not think that only great deeds change the world. Sometimes a single nod of obedience, a kind word, or a tear shed in prayer can shift the current of history in the portion entrusted to you. Remember this, my child: intention is the first seed of transformation. Intention is not a vague wish, but the first energy released into the universe. When you set your mind toward goodness, toward light, toward me, you are planting a living seed in the sacred soil of the present moment. That seed will grow, not through haste, but through enduring faith. and whether it rises in sunlight or in shadow, I watch over each root as it unfolds. Therefore, do not fear to sow, do not fear to begin small. Do not fear that what you do today is in vain, for whatever is sown in love shall never be lost. It may lie hidden beneath the earth, silent through a long season, but at the appointed time it will emerge, and you will see that what was planted in faith was never wasted. Do not be afraid of the weight of what lies ahead. Many, when they glimpse the light, long to return to darkness, for light exposes what they are not yet ready to face. But my child, the light does not come to condemn, it comes to heal. When what is within you is brought to the surface, have the courage to look upon it with kindness. Do not flee from the shadows within your own soul. Let me enter there with you. Fear can only be conquered when it is embraced by love. Remember, I did not call you to avoid the wind. I called you to learn how to walk through the storm while keeping your breath in peace. Storms will rise around you, and the world will tremble. Things once firm will be shaken. Things once prized will be tested. But do not fear, for nothing escapes my gaze. Even when you do not understand, I am still writing. Even when you see everything fall apart, I am still building. True peace does not come when the wind stops blowing, but when you know that there is a hand guiding the wind. Let my peace become your strength, not the fragile silence of weakness, but the steady stillness of a rock that stands unmoved amid the waves. When you learn to stand firm amid change, you will understand that faith is not a feeling but a decision. You choose to believe when there is nothing left to hold. You choose to love when your heart has been wounded. You choose to continue when the path ahead is unclear. It is in those choices that your soul is forged like steel through fire. The wisdom I give is not to help you escape hardship, but to guide you through it. My light not only illuminates your path, it illuminates your heart, revealing what must be released, what must be kept, what must be forgiven, and what must be offered up. My beloved child, do not let the confusion of others make your heart waver. The world will always tremble when something new arises, but those who are called must not collapse in fear. When others lose direction, you must be the one who stands still in faith. When they lament, bring words of comfort. When they doubt, light the torch of hope, not because you are stronger than they are, but because you know where the true source of strength lies. My peace is not the reward that comes after the storm has passed. It is the flame that continues to burn in the midst of the rain. You are called not only to witness, but to act. Do not merely sit and watch the world crumble while asking me to rebuild it. Begin by letting me rebuild you, for when I transform a soul, I begin to transform a world. When you become a bearer of peace, the place where you stand becomes holy ground. When you walk with compassion, each of your steps leaves behind a trail of light. When you speak with words of love, the very air around you becomes purified. You are my instrument, not an instrument of power, but of gentleness. Believe that every small act you do in silence resounds through eternity. A quiet prayer, a hidden kindness, a decision to keep your heart pure, all these are recorded. I do not measure your worth by the scale of your deeds, but by the depth of love within each act. Therefore, do not seek the applause of men, seek my gaze. When you do all things as an offering unto me, you will see that even the most ordinary acts become sacred. You may think you are too small to make a difference, but I tell you this truth. It is the souls who live faithfully in the small things that change the course of ages. Each time you choose light over darkness, the universe leans toward hope. Each time you forgive, a chain in the spiritual realm is broken. Each time you love, a desolate land within another's heart begins to bloom again. Never underestimate the power of what is done in my name, no matter how small. For in the kingdom of heaven, even the smallest act can illuminate the deepest night. Hold fast to this truth, my child. Nothing can touch the soul that trusts in me. The body may tire, circumstances may change, people may misunderstand, but the soul that takes refuge in me will never be lost. This is the promise I have made, and my word does not change. When you stand in peace amidst the darkness, you are bearing witness that I am real, that faith is not an illusion. And when you believe in the midst of adversity, you become a sign to the world that eternal love still remains. Therefore, my child, move forward with courage. Do not fear the unknown, for I am the one who knows all things. Do not fear the future, for I am already there. Do not fear loss, for nothing lost in me is ever wasted. Every season of trial is but a prelude to the symphony of new life. So keep walking, keep believing, keep sowing, and you will see that even the darkness is working for the light. And when you walk with that faith, you will witness the wonder of it all. Everything in the universe, even the smallest thing, begins to respond to your yes. The grass seems greener, the sky appears clearer, and your soul blossoms like a flower meeting the sun. For you are not merely living, but moving in harmony with the heartbeat of the Creator. You have become part of the divine symphony where every breath, every step, every decision echoes the song of eternal life. Tomorrow, my child, the first step I call you to take is not outward toward the world, but inward into the depths of your own soul. Do not rush to seek answers in the crowd, for the noise only drives your spirit further from the true light. Return, slow down, and enter the secret chamber within, where you can meet yourself and meet me. There, you need no mask, no performance, no defense, only honesty and courage, for only when you dare to look within can true restoration begin. No one can walk that inner sanctuary for you. It is a path only you and I can tread together. Go deep within without fear. Many are afraid to look back, for their souls carry unhealed memories in hidden corners unnamed. But my child, I do not come to judge or to punish. I come to illuminate. Darkness never conquers light. It merely exists where light has not yet been invited. When you allow my light to enter the places you once avoided, you will see that even your weakness, your failures, and your shame can become the very ground where new life grows. Nothing within you is useless when it is brought into the light of truth. Ask yourself, with gentleness and honesty, what have I neglected within my soul? Have you ignored that small voice urging you to return to prayer? Have you dismissed your own tears, labeling them as weakness? Have you allowed the calling within your heart to wither, fearing what others might think? Let these questions echo without rushing to answer. Sometimes, the silence of a question is the very space where the Holy Spirit begins to speak. When you dare to face yourself, light will find its way to you. Do not fear when you see in your heart things that are not beautiful. The truth may make you tremble, but it is the first step toward freedom. You cannot be set free from what you still hide. Darkness grows through the silence of fear, yet when you speak, when you admit, when you allow me to touch it, it will vanish like mist under sunlight. I do not love you less because of those shadowed corners. I love you completely, both the radiant and the broken parts, and it is precisely that love that will recreate you, if you allow it to. As you venture into the deeper layers of your soul, you will find things that have long ceased to move. Dreams that once burned brightly now lie cold. Holy desires that once made you weep with awe now sleep like ashes. Do not be afraid to stir them again. Let me breathe the breath of life into them once more, for what seems dead within you can live again if you let me touch it. No calling is ever truly lost, only forgotten. No flame is ever fully extinguished, only covered by the dust of indifference. Open your heart and say, Lord, let your light help me see clearly. When you offer that prayer, I will begin my work. My light does not strike like lightning to frighten you. It rises like dawn, slow, tender, but certain, bit by bit. I will illuminate the corners you have avoided. You will see old wounds, regrets yet to be forgiven, and memories left untouched. Do not drive them away. Let them be seen, for whatever is seen in my light will be transformed. I know there are things you wish to forget, mistakes, losses, decisions that hurt, but forgetting is not healing. It is only temporary covering. Healing comes from looking again, acknowledging, and letting me transform it. You need not do this alone. Invite me in. Allow me to sit beside you in that room of memories. I will not scold, nor condemn, nor judge. I will simply lay my hand on your shoulder and say, I am here. And in that touch, everything begins to melt: fear, shame, loneliness. For no wound can withstand the presence of love. My child, the wonder is that when you dare to look within, you will see not only darkness but light that has yet to unfold. You will discover treasures I have hidden within you since the dawn of creation: gentleness, endurance, gratitude, and the power to love beyond pain. Many believe the spiritual journey is about finding me somewhere far away, but truly, it is the journey home to the place where I have already planted a part of myself within you. When you realize this, you will understand that your soul is not barren ground, but a garden waiting to be tended, and I, the holy gardener, am always ready to water, prune, and make it bloom again. Bring all that is hidden into the light of awareness. Do not conceal what hurts. Do not hide what withers. Do not pretend to be strong when you are weary. Let these things breathe, speak, and weep. Let the parts of you once abandoned hear my tender call. Live again. My light does not expose to shame, but to restore. Once something is brought into the light, it loses its power to rule over you. Imagine your soul as a room long left unopened. Layers of dusty memories, cobwebs of fear, stains of regret cover everything. When you open the door, at first it may sting your eyes, it may ache, but the moment you let the light pour in, the air changes. The decay is cleared away, and the room breathes with the fragrance of life once more. That is what I do within you whenever you allow me to shine. And you will see, the mystery is this: when you face yourself, you do not become weaker, you become stronger. For true courage is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to face it, trusting that you are loved through it all. You will learn that perfection is not being without flaw, but allowing my love to touch every fracture. When light passes through the cracks, it creates a beauty that unbroken souls have never known. It is through those very fractures that grace flows in. Believe this, my child, there is no past that I cannot redeem. There is no mistake beyond the reach of grace. When you surrender all things to me, I will turn ashes into fertile soil, tears into living streams, and failures into testimonies of resurrection. You will no longer look back to condemn yourself, but to give thanks, for it was in that very darkness that you learned to cherish the light. Tomorrow, when you open your eyes, do not rush to seek me in distant places. Look within. Sit in stillness, place your hand upon your heart, and whisper, "You are still here." Let that moment become your first prayer of the day. Allow my light to shine through every corner of your soul, that what once seemed dead may live again. That is the beginning of rebirth, not by your strength, but by the restoring power of mine. My beloved, the world always finds ways to demand more of you than you think you can give. It will draw you into endless cycles of duty, expectation, and fear. It will tell you that to be accepted, you must strive relentlessly. To be loved, you must prove yourself. To find peace, you must conform. Yet when your soul truly awakens, you will see that most of these demands are illusions, echoes of a world that has forgotten what it was created for. The world wants you to respond with anxiety, competition, and despair. But, my child, the one who has been awakened no longer answers fear with fear. You respond with understanding. You do not chase the noise of the crowd. for you have heard another voice, the gentle, powerful resonance of the one who leads you. Prepare your heart, for when the light of awareness shines, much of what you once believed will begin to tremble. Light does not only illuminate, it reveals. Illusions that once comforted you will show their true form: false beliefs, habits disguised as normal, relationships held onto out of fear of change. You will realize that some things that felt sweet were only chains wrapped in velvet. Some things you called peace were really escape. Some places where you felt safe were only the quiet of a soul asleep. Do not fear when truth appears. Darkness fears being seen, but light fears nothing. When I allow you to see, it is never to wound you, but to set you free. There are things within you that may seem pleasant, familiar, and warm feelings, thought patterns, connections that have existed so long you mistake them for your very self. But my child, do not be deceived by what feels familiar. Familiarity does not equal life. Some things feel familiar simply because you have stayed in them too long, not because they are right. Some wounds have been with you for so many years that you have called them companions. But not everything that walks with you comes from me. Sometimes what you call a natural part of who I am is the very chain that has kept your soul weary. Pause and ask yourself, does this bring life or merely comfort? If it gives you brief ease but dims the light within you, it is not life. If it keeps you within the confines of comfort but stops your growth, it is not peace, it is slumber. True life is not always gentle. It may call you out of safety, ask you to release what you once called yourself. Yet, in that surrender, you will find freedom. The life I speak of is not merely breath, it is the movement of the soul toward the light. It is a continual flow, not caged by habit, not imprisoned by fear. Life always calls you forward, not in haste, but in honesty. Let every decision of yours be tested by this question: does this expand my soul or make it shrink? Anything that causes your soul to shrink, no matter how soothing it feels, does not come from me. For I am the one who expands, who liberates, who brings all things to life. Choose life, even if it asks you to leave your comfort behind. Choose light, even if it forces you to face your own shadow. Choose awakening, even if it means standing before the emptiness of beginning again. For awakening is not a reward, it is the path itself. When you awaken, you will know that every loss was but a turning of grace. What you release is never lost, it is placed into my hands to be transformed. The world will say, hold on to what you have, don't be foolish enough to lose it. But I say, let go, so that you may receive. For hands that cling too tightly cannot welcome what is new. Water is pure only when it flows. Life exists only when it continues to give. You must learn that true love does not fear loss, for it is not built on possession. True faith does not fear change, for it knows that every shift unfolds within my hands. When you choose to walk in the light, you may lose much: comfort, the approval of others, even what you once thought was essential. Yet in return, you will gain what no one can take from you, the freedom of your soul. My child, you will come to see the difference between true peace and false calm. True peace may come with tears, but those tears are the cleansing waters of the soul. False calm feels sweet, yet it numbs the spirit. True peace does not arise from everything going well, but from knowing you are exactly where you should be within my will. Learn to discern this. When your soul begins to distinguish what is genuine from what is counterfeit, the world will no longer have power over you. Do not fear when I overturn what once seemed unshakable. Do not cling to the foundations I, myself, am shaking. You cannot build a new house on a decaying foundation. When I allow you to lose, it is so that you may open. When I allow you to see, it is so that you may awaken. And when I allow you to hurt, it is so that you may learn to feel. No pain is meaningless if it draws you closer to me. As you learn to choose life, you will realize that life is not always gentle. Some days it will burn like fire, others it will flow like cool water. Yet, in every form, it comes to purify, to renew, to expand you into something better. Each time you choose awareness over numbness, you break a chain in the spiritual realm. Each time you choose love over fear, you let light enter a hidden corner. And in that very act, you become a witness to truth that in this chaotic world, there are still souls who choose the light. You will see that the trials the world places before you are not meant to destroy you, but to reveal you. Just as gold shines only after passing through fire, the soul shines only after it has been tested. The awakening you are entering is not an illusion, but a true journey, one where you learn to discern the false from the true, death from life, and with every choice, you are writing your own answer to me. Do not seek life in what is comfortable, seek it in what is real. Truth may not always please you, but it will set you free. Truth needs no embellishment, for it is pure light. And when you learn to love truth, you will no longer fear the dark, for you will understand that darkness is only light not yet born. The day you dare to choose life over comfort, light over obscurity, and awakening over complacency, that is the day you will begin to truly live. You will no longer merely exist, but be, as part of the creation being reborn. And I, the one who has called you from silence, will smile, for you have heard and responded. The first step of tomorrow, my child, is not to chase the plans you have drawn, nor to strain after control over what cannot be held. That first step is the quiet courage to choose the reality I have placed before you, instead of clinging to the illusions that have lulled your soul for too long. Courage not the loud kind of warriors on the battlefield, but the silent kind of those who dare to look truth in the eye, even when it makes them tremble. My reality is not always pleasant, but it is always healing. It may strip away your layers of defense, yet only to bring you back to your truest self, bare, radiant, and ready to receive light in full measure. When you choose to face reality, you are stepping into the realm of spiritual maturity. Many fear it, for reality does not bend to their desires. But, my child, it is in that very reality that grace moves. I cannot bless an illusion. I can only work with what is true. So let go of what feels safe, but is false, the image you want others to see, the roles you are tired of maintaining, the beliefs you hold only because you fear change. You do not need to pretend to be whole in order to be loved. I love you in the midst of your breaking, and from those fragments, I will create something new. Then, when your heart has found the courage to face what lies ahead, act not in panic, not in haste, not under pressure, but with clarity and purpose. True wisdom is never in a rush, for it knows that all beautiful things require time to take shape. You do not need to do much. You only need to do it with full awareness that every small step you take carries meaning within the grand design I am writing. Every gentle word, every loving deed, every honest choice, no matter how small, sets in motion spiritual currents your eyes cannot yet see. Do not despise small things. A single word of forgiveness can alter the destiny of two souls. A kind gesture can shake open the gates of heaven. A single pause to pray can move the entire realm above. Do not let the unknown paralyze you. Uncertainty is not the enemy. It is the canvas upon which destiny is painted. If you look closely, you will see that every great thing in history began with a step into the fog. Abraham left his homeland without knowing where he was going, simply because he trusted my voice. Moses walked into the wilderness without knowing when he would see the promised land, but he trusted my word. So it is with you. You do not need to see the whole road, only to take the first step in faith. The rest, I will unfold in rhythm with your footsteps. Embrace the unknown, as an artist embraces the emptiness of a blank canvas. Do not fear it, for it is there that I am preparing to paint. Ambiguity is not emptiness, it is the space where miracles are born. When you dare to walk into what is not yet clear with a trusting heart, you allow me to work. You will be amazed to realize that what you thought was a small beginning is in fact the wellspring of great transformation. Every eternal work begins with one simple act done in love. So begin not with calculation, but with an expression of love, not with pressure, but with the gentleness of faith. Let one courageous act mark the beginning of your day. Courage may simply be to say, "I'm sorry," to send a message of forgiveness, or to remain silent when you wish to argue. Courage may be to smile when you have no reason left, or to choose hope when everything seems broken. That is true courage, the kind that needs no audience, only my gaze. Let one expression of love lead your way. Love is not always returned, but it is never wasted. Every time you love, you touch my very essence. And finally, let one acknowledgement of truth, no matter how small, guide all that you do. For when you are faithful to truth, you stand upon a rock that cannot be moved. My child, remember that every encounter tomorrow is sacred. No one you meet is by accident. No face that passes through your life is without divine purpose. Each person is a mirror reflecting something within you, and at the same time, an opportunity for you to reflect something of me. When you look upon someone with kindness, their soul receives the message that they are still loved. When you listen to someone with genuine attention, you let them taste the fragrance of heaven where every soul is fully understood. Regard every interaction, no matter how small, as a ceremony of grace. Every word you speak, every glance you offer, every gesture you make is an opportunity to reflect the light I have placed within you. The world has grown accustomed to haste, to careless eyes and empty words. But if you choose to slow down, to be sincere, you will be different. You will become a place where others can touch peace. You will be the whisper in a noisy world, the small candle in a darkened room. You do not need to do extraordinary things. You only need to be present with love, and the ordinary will become miraculous. Do not waste such moments. Every second you live is a second I have given you to bring light into the world. When you pass by an opportunity to love, that light dims a little. But when you choose to love, it grows brighter, stronger, and wider. Do not think that only sermons, prayers, or great works are spiritual. Sometimes the holiest act is a timely embrace, a compassionate glance, or a silence filled with respect. I am present in all these things. If you do them with a pure heart, let kindness be the first language you speak. Kindness is not weakness, but the gentle strength that breaks the chains of bitterness. Let patience be your breath, for wounded souls cannot bloom under pressure. Let integrity be the red thread woven through all your words and deeds, so that others may see in you something unchanging, the light of truth. And when they look at you, they will not only see you, but see me, the one who lives within you. And my child, when you live this way, the world around you will begin to change, not with noise, not with spectacle, but in quiet depth. A person who is loved will learn to love. A person who is heard will learn to listen. A person who is seen will help others to be seen. Light never argues with darkness, it simply appears, and you are that light. Let your presence become a gentle reminder that everyone is seen, everyone is loved, and everyone has a place in the eternal flow of my being. Tomorrow, when you open your eyes, do not rush to your phone. Do not plunge into news or plans. Take a deep breath and whisper, "Lord, make today a song of light." Then step out not as someone striving to prove themselves, but as one who carries my presence. Everywhere you go will be different, because I go with you. Everyone you meet will feel something, even if they cannot name it. It is my peace, flowing through you. And when night falls, return to silence, and look back on the day with gratitude. You will see that even the smallest acts, the moments that seemed meaningless, have become threads in an eternal tapestry where my light reflects through your soul, reaching the places you have walked. And when darkness comes, as it surely will, do not be afraid, my child. Do not see it as your enemy, nor as a sign that I have departed. Darkness is not the absence of light. It is an invitation to seek a deeper, truer, purer light. It is the stillness I place before you so your soul may learn to listen rather than merely to see. When the light outside fades, that is when I desire the light within you to rise. So when the night comes, do not hastily strike a torch out of fear. Sit still, breathe deeply, and whisper, "The light is still here." And you will see, not with your eyes, but with your faith, that the light has never left you. Stand firm, my child. Darkness can only frighten you when you forget the ground beneath your feet. Do not bow to despair, for despair is the enemy's greatest lie. It will tell you that you are alone, that you are not strong enough, that your prayers go unheard. But I tell you, I am still here. I am still at work in the silence. Remember, seeds do not grow under blazing light, but in the darkness of the soil. In the place where you think there is no life, life is stirring. You are not abandoned in the night. You are being nurtured in the night. Do not let the noise of fear drown out the gentle voice of my spirit within you. That voice is never rushed, never harsh, yet ever steady. It speaks through your breathing, through every moment you choose faith over doubt. You can hear it when the world grows quiet and your heart is at peace. Set aside time each day to return to that sacred stillness, the place where your soul and I meet without words. When you hear that voice, you will no longer stagger in the storm, for I, the one who speaks to you, am the ground that cannot be shaken. I am with you, not only when you pray, but in every heartbeat. My spirit surrounds you as the air enfolds the earth. You cannot see it, yet you cannot live without it. My love upholds you as a river bears a leaf softly, yet unyieldingly. When the ground beneath you trembles, when everything once certain becomes unclear, you remain anchored in eternity. You are not adrift. You are not lost. You rest in the palm of my hand, and there, nothing can harm your soul. Let this truth be more than a thought in your mind. Let it become the breath in your every moment. Do not let faith be something you merely think. Let it be something you live. Let the certainty of my love become the rhythm of your heartbeat, so that every step you take carries the peace of one who knows they are loved without condition. When your faith seeps into your living, it reshapes every choice, the way you speak, the way you are silent, the way you love, the way you forgive. Tomorrow, you will face trials that do not come from the outside, but from within your own heart. There will be moments when you want to stop, to turn back to the old things, to the habits that once made you feel safe, even though they kept you small. You will be tempted to return to the familiar zone, where you do not need to believe, do not need to wait, do not need to grow. But my child, do not give in. Those familiar things no longer belong to you. They were once a cocoon, but you cannot fly if you remain inside it. The time has come for you to step out with wings formed from the nights when you were faithful. The trials of tomorrow will not always be storms. Sometimes they will come as gentle winds of delay, laziness, or discouragement. These are more subtle, for they do not frighten you, they simply tire you. But remember, weariness is not a sign of failure. It is a reminder that you need to pause and be refilled. Do not try to fly by your own strength. Let my spirit be the wind that lifts your wings. When you stop to pray, you are not losing time, you are regaining your direction. My child, your soul has been forged for days like these. Nothing you have gone through has been in vain. Every trial, every waiting, every tear has been a lesson I used to mold your soul into enduring metal. The fire of suffering has not consumed you. It has only burned away what is not real. The ashes of the past have become the fertile ground where new faith grows. You are not one who merely begins. You are one who has been prepared. Every loss, every pain, every moment when you thought you would collapse, all have become proof that you can rise again in my power. Believe in the strength within you, for that strength does not come from you but from me, living inside you. When you are weak, I am strong. When you tremble, I stand firm. When you are silent, I still speak. True strength is not the absence of fear, but the courage to move forward despite fear. True faith is not the absence of doubt, but the choice to trust in the midst of doubt. You will see that your power does not lie in controlling everything, but in surrendering everything. Remember, the strength I have placed within you is not meant for you to prove yourself, but for you to endure. It does not make you proud, but steadfast. That strength is the ability to stand still in love when everything around you demands a reaction of fear. That strength is the calm assurance of one who knows they belong to the light, even while walking through the night. You will see that there are times I will not quiet the storm outside, but I will quiet the storm within you. When your heart is at peace, everything else loses its power over you. You will pass through the storm as one walking through the dark, not in haste, not in fear, but with the awareness that there is light walking beside you. You will make it through, not because you are strong, but because you know I will never leave you midway. My child, let faith be the lamp that lights your uncertain steps ahead. Let hope be the flame in your heart, even if it flickers faintly. That small flame is enough to keep your soul alive through the night. And when the first light of dawn breaks, you will see the night has not won. It was only a dark curtain so that the light could shine more brilliantly when it came. Therefore, do not fear the darkness, my child. Let it remind you that my light still dwells within you. Let it teach you the lesson of steadfastness. And when you have passed through it, you will not only emerge whole, but you will carry light enough to lead others out of their long night. My beloved one, do not walk as one groping in the dark, but as one who knows you carry in your hands the torch of awakening and the shield of faith. That torch is the inner light, the awareness that I am with you, the unshakable belief that stands when the night presses in. And that shield is the certainty that my word never fails, that everything I have begun in you will be brought to completion. When you carry these two treasures within, you can face the fierce winds, cross the valleys of doubt, and your heart will not tremble. You will understand that true strength is not in the triumphant shout of victory, but in the quiet steadfastness of walking on while the world around you is still veiled in mist. Begin everything with gratitude, my child. Do not treat it as a ritual, but live it as you live your crop. Breath, give thanks not only for the good things but also for the painful turns that seem to break you. Give thanks for the breath that moves in and out of your chest. That simple rhythm you often forget is a miracle. Be grateful for the light that touches your eyelids each morning, for the birds calling the dawn, for the hands still able to reach and receive, and even for the silence, the tears, the days that seem meaningless. Give thanks for those too. For in my plan, no moment is ever wasted. Every instant, whether bright or shadowed, is woven from the same thread, love. Gratitude is the key that opens every door. When you are thankful, your soul is freed from the barrenness of complaint and bitterness. The door of grace opens not by pleading, but by the quiet whisper of thank you, spoken from a trusting heart. When you give thanks in trials, heaven listens. When you give thanks in loss, hell trembles. For nothing confounds the powers of darkness more than a soul that still gives thanks in adversity. Gratitude turns tears into light, burdens into stepping stones, and dead ends into new paths. Give thanks for the invisible powers that protect you, the things unseen yet constantly moving around you. There were times you thought you escaped danger by luck, but it was my angel spreading wings over you. There were times you felt too weak to go on, yet an unseen hand lifted you so you would not fall. Know this: every time you are still standing, it is not because you were strong enough, but because I have not withdrawn my hand from your life. You are wrapped in a layer of grace, light as air, yet firm as stone. Live with that awareness, and you will no longer fear the darkness. Gratitude is also the lens through which you can see life in a new light. When you look through it, everything becomes clear. A trial is no longer an enemy, but a teacher. Pain is no longer the end, but the prelude to renewal. Gratitude opens your eyes to perceive grace in the ordinary, to recognize my hand in the smallest details. When you are thankful, you no longer search for miracles. You realize they were always around you, waiting for your heart to awaken. Let your first thought, your first word, your first act each morning be a deep expression of thanks. Do not wait for something grand to happen before you give thanks. Give thanks as soon as you open your eyes, for you have another day to live, to love, to learn, to grow. When you begin your day with gratitude, the entire universe seems to lean toward you, for you have tuned your soul to the rhythm of grace, and in that moment, everything I have prepared for you finds its way. Gratitude turns you into a partner of heaven, one whose every work is anointed with peace, and at the end of all things, my child, there is love. Nothing stands higher, nothing endures longer, nothing holds greater power. Love is my essence and the breath of the universe. Love without hesitation, without boundary, without condition. Do not wait for others to deserve love before you give it, for I never waited for you to deserve mine. Love not for reward, but because it is the true nature of a soul set aflame. When you love, you return to your truest self. You flow once again with the pulse of the Creator. Let love be the compass that guides you through every fog, the strength that lifts you after every fall, the anchor that steadies you in every storm, and the gift you offer to the world, expecting nothing in return. Do not fear that love will make you weak. The world says that those who love deeply will be hurt, but in my kingdom, only those who love deeply are truly strong. For love does not break you, it roots you deeper in me. In the midst of chaos, love. When the world shouts, respond with kindness. When others judge, listen with compassion. When you are betrayed, choose forgiveness over revenge. Love is not weakness. It is the sacred strength that chooses gentleness when the world chooses hardness. When you love amid adversity, you proclaim to the world that darkness can never overcome light. In doubt, love. When you cannot grasp my plan, when you see no path ahead, when your prayers remain unanswered, do not let your heart close. Love me through faith, faith that even when you do not understand, I am still good. Love others even when they do not understand you, for the love you give will become the seed I use to transform them. Love yourself, not out of pride, but with compassion, for that is how I love you. When others fall or turn away, still love. Do not let pain make you numb. Do not let wounds turn you into a skeptic. Every time you choose to love after being hurt, you prove that love is stronger than fear. Remember, the cross was not the end of love, but its highest point. Love is not defeated by death, it conquers death. And when you love in this way, you carry within you the power of resurrection. Open your heart wide, my child. Do not fear that. Its vastness will make you vulnerable, for I will be the wall that protects it. A closed heart may be safe, but it is barren. An open heart may be fragile, but it overflows with life. Through love, every path is illuminated, for love is the lamp in the night. When you love, you will see what others cannot, potential in the weak, beauty in what seems broken, and hope in the place they call hopeless. My beloved, love is the one miracle that never runs dry. The more you give, the more you have. It is a fire that cannot burn out, because its source is me, the one who never ceases to be. Let love flow through you like an unending stream, reaching the barren places, reviving the souls that have closed themselves off. When you love, you join me in completing the work of creation, for only love can make all things very good. And one day, when you look back on your journey, you will see that everything I taught you comes down to one truth: love. Not because it is easy, but because it is the road that leads to eternal life. When you love, you do not only transform the world around you, you are transformed. Love refines your soul like metal in fire, until it shines and reflects my image. Go forth, my child, with the torch of awareness, the shield of faith, the heart of gratitude, and hands full of love. That is the armor of those who belong to the light. Walk through this world not as one seeking miracles, but as one carrying the miracle within. Let every breath, every step, every glance of yours be a way for me to touch the world. And when you do this, you will see in the simplicity of your daily life, you have become my living prayer among humankind. Listen closely, my child, for the truth I speak is not confined by the frame of time you measure, nor limited to the days you mark on a calendar. My truth does not belong to hours or minutes or the turning of the sun, but to a current that flows beyond all, where all things are born, transformed, and fulfilled in eternal wisdom. Time, as you know it, is only the ripple upon the surface of an infinite ocean. Beneath that ripple lies the deep pulse of existence, a sacred rhythm that never ceases. It is this pulse that keeps all creation moving, that binds every breath you take to the heartbeat of the universe, and if you listen deeply enough, you will feel that rhythm echo within your very soul. Time, my child, is not linear as you think. It is not a river flowing from past to future. It is an ocean swirling in circles, where every moment holds every other moment within it. What you call yesterday or tomorrow both dwell in the same sacred space of the present. When you learn to stand still in awareness, you will touch that current, the place where I am still speaking, still loving, still making all things new. As Micah 7-8 says, "When I sit in darkness, the Lord will be my light." Darkness and light, beginning and end, all blend together in one eternal rhythm, and you are living within it. There is a current of life beneath all things, whether you see it or not. It runs through the roots of trees, through the veins of the earth, through every breath of wind, through your heartbeat, and even through the tears of humankind. That current never stops changing, for life never stands still. You watch a flower bloom and fade, but life within it does not die. It only transforms, going deeper, reappearing in new form. Everything in this world, including you, moves within that flow. Therefore, do not fear change. Change is not the mark of loss. It is the breath of life continuing. There are days when everything around you seems stable, familiar, as if the entire universe itself has paused to rest. You feel safe within what you know, within routines, repetitive rhythms, and the comforting illusion that things will always remain the same. But my child, the stability you sense is not stillness. It is the quiet breath between two waves of change. For with just one breath of my wind, the ground beneath your feet can tremble. The sky, once clear, can suddenly change its hue, and what you thought was solid can dissolve like sand slipping through your hands. This is not punishment, it is a reminder that you are living in a moving world, not in an unshakable monument. When the winds of change arise, remember this: I am the one who does not change in the midst of every change. You cannot keep the world still, but you can remain still in me. You cannot stop the river from flowing, but you can anchor your vessel in the current of grace. Do not cling to what you think will last forever, for everything you see, fame, wealth, work, relationships, even emotions, are only fleeting waves. They may be beautiful, they may be fierce, they may carry you away, but they will all pass. Only my love stands as the foundation that will never crumble. When you understand this, you will learn the art of living within movement, not with resistance or turmoil, but with trust. I know, you often ask, why does everything keep changing? Why can't I hold on to what I love? But, my child, if nothing ever changed, you would never grow. Your soul was born to evolve, to expand, to understand more deeply the essence of love. And I, with infinite love, allow everything around you to change, not to take from you, but to enlarge you. Each time a door closes, a new horizon opens. Each time something you hold slips away, I am placing in your hands something that truly belongs to you, though you may not yet see it. Do not fear when the ground beneath you quakes. What shakes is what is not real. What is real will stand through every tremor. Sometimes I allow you to feel unsteady, not to make you fall, but to help you see where your true foundation lies, not in circumstances, not in others, but in me. When you stand upon that foundation, no storm can overthrow you. The sky may change its color, but my light still pierces through every layer of cloud. Today may be a storm, but dawn still waits beyond the horizon. The wind of change may sweep away what you once knew, but it also carries with it what is new, purer, timelier, and more necessary. You only need to trust that I am within that wind, directing its flow, guiding you toward better ground, even when you cannot see it yet. Let your spirit learn to move with the current instead of fighting against it. Just as the tree bends with the wind so it will not break, so must you learn the grace of yielding before change. Gentleness is not weakness. It is the strength that comes from harmony with the wisdom of the Creator. When you no longer fear losing, you are finally free to receive. When you no longer fear change, you begin to live fully within the sacred rhythm of life. That rhythm has its quick and slow tempos, its seasons of sowing and harvest, its days of sunshine and nights of shadow. Yet through all of it, I remain the beat that never ceases. When you step into that rhythm, not through reasoning, but through trust, you will witness a quiet miracle. The world no longer threatens you, but becomes the classroom of your soul. Every upheaval is a lesson, every loss a doorway, and you will no longer ask, "Why is this happening?" But instead, "Lord, teach me what you want me to learn through this." Do not let change frighten you, for I am within it. I am the heartbeat of creation, the flow of history, the breath that carries you through each day. You cannot stop time, but you can walk through it in peace, knowing that every motion, however small, rests within my hand. Remember this, my child. Everything you rely on in this world is in motion except me. You may lose positions, relationships, or dreams, but you will never lose me. And when all else shifts, that is your moment to look up and say, "Lord, you alone are the one unchanging within me." When you understand this, you will walk no longer in fear of impermanence, but in gratitude for it. For impermanence teaches you to love more deeply, to live more fully, and to depend entirely upon me. Receive every change as you would a new season, for I am the Lord of all seasons, and I make everything beautiful in its time. Do not think you can delay awakening, my beloved child. Awakening is not a choice you can postpone until it is convenient or when you have time. It is a divine summons, echoing through the pulse of the universe, through the breath of the soul, through every movement of the world around you. You may delay listening, but you cannot delay the movement of time. Just as the seasons take turns without asking humanity's consent, just as the sea rises and falls regardless of your will, change belongs to the law of life, and awakening is the only way you can pass through without being swept away. There are days that seem so ordinary the sky remains blue, the sunlight still spills gold across the roofs, people still walk the same streets, yet in a single heartbeat, the axis of reality can shift. A small event, a word spoken, a moment of realization, and suddenly, the world is no longer what it was. What once felt permanent becomes fragile. Foundations that seemed unshakable may crumble, revealing the deeper ground where you must choose to stand in faith or collapse in fear. Therefore, do not live as though you have endless time. The world does not wait for those unprepared, nor does it favor those who hesitate. In my universe, delay is not neutral, it is the loss of a sacred opportunity. I tell you this, preparation is holy, and vigilance is the breath of an awakened soul. You cannot simply hope to be fine on the day of testing. You must train yourself now. Prepare by tending within you a flame, the flame of awareness, of faith, of communion with me. When night falls, a lamp cannot burn without oil. Likewise, the soul cannot shine without watchfulness in prayer. Do not wait for the storm to seek shelter. Build your house firmly while the sky is still clear. Those who slumber in the turning hours of history will be swept away like sand underfoot when the tide rises. You may look around and see people who appear to live in peace, but in truth they are only sleeping in the middle of a flood, unaware that the waters are quietly rising. The world will not mourn the complacent. Therefore, awakening is not merely a state of mind, it is the survival of the soul. The awakened do not wait for signs. They discern the rhythm of the unseen. They adjust their steps to the cadence of the Spirit. They live with the awareness that each day carries within it a message from heaven. Know this, my child, timelines, like rivers, never flow straight. Some waters are calm and gentle, reflecting sunlight like a mirror, but others twist, surge, and roar over sharp stones. Some rivers branch into 100 streams, each carrying you to a different land where you must learn new lessons, meet new souls, and leave behind what has grown old. And sometimes, two rivers that once ran apart will meet again in a place you least expect, like two lives once divided, now reunited, like two souls once lost, now returning home together. Your life, too, is a river. There are stretches where you row easily through clear waters, and stretches where waves strike hard, and times when you feel caught in a whirlpool. But whether the waters are muddy or clear, swift or slow, you are still being carried by an invisible current, the current of my intention. That current has a purpose, a direction, and a destination. Even if you cannot yet see it, you need only learn to sense it, to trust it, and to cooperate with it. Do not resist the water, for the water is not your enemy. When you learn to swim with the rhythm of grace, you will find yourself carried farther, safer, and lighter than ever before. But if you grow dim and fall asleep amid the movement of the unseen, you will be swept into rapids you never anticipated. You will struggle in the whirlpools of fear, grasping at the rotting branches of old habits, unable to understand why you are exhausted. You will call it misfortune, failure, or loss, but in truth, it will only be the result of swimming against the current of grace. Remember, nothing wearies the soul more than trying to preserve what I am asking you to release. Awakening is the art of listening to the river within. When you become still, you will realize that the water has never stopped flowing. It is only the noise of the world that has kept you from hearing it. When you release all resistance, you begin to sense the direction of the Spirit, just as a sailor feels the wind to set his sails. Sometimes, the current takes you where you did not plan to go, yet that is precisely where you need to be. In truth, faith is not believing that I will take you where you want, but trusting that I will lead you where you need to be. My child, every soul must learn the language of movement. Nothing in this universe is motionless. Even when you think you are standing still, you are revolving around the light, moving within the current of energy I have set in motion since the beginning. Therefore, awakening is not about doing more, but about living with the awareness that everything is in motion. Those who are asleep believe they can preserve things as they are, keep their position, their habits, their attachments, but sooner or later, life will ask them to open their hands. The sooner you understand this law, the lighter you will live. There are some who, out of fear of loss, cling to the past. They hold tightly to what once comforted them, unaware that those things are now empty shells. They become trapped among old riverbeds where the water has dried up, and they wonder why they feel barren. But those who can sense the new current, who can feel the rising mist and hear the distant call, will loosen their grip on the shore and let the new river carry them forward. They do not know where they will arrive, but they know who is guiding them, and in that knowing, they are at peace. I call you, my child. Do not sleep through the movement of time. Do not think awakening is the task of tomorrow. Every breath you take is an invitation to open your eyes. Every gust of wind, every stirring in your heart, every encounter, no matter how small, all are signs through which I whisper, "Wake up." My child, do not wait until the waters rise or the banks collapse to realize you were unprepared. Learn to listen now, so that when the currents swirl, you will not panic, but know how to steer your oar in the right direction. Awakening does not merely help you survive, it helps you live rightly. It opens your eyes to see that nothing happens outside my design. It teaches you not to ask why, but to ask for what. And each time you look at life with that question, you will see that every change holds a purpose, every disruption hides a blessing. So, awaken, my child, not out of fear, but out of gratitude. Awakening does not pull you away from life. It allows you to be more fully present within it. You will begin to see old things with new meaning. Ordinary things become sacred. You will realize that the river you travel is not yours alone, but part of the great current of my design, where every stream returns to the sea and every soul returns to the source of light. No change in life is ever random, my beloved child. Every motion, no matter how small, carries within it a divine purpose. Every season, whether short or long, holds a lesson written in the language of the Spirit. Some lessons come like a gentle breeze, you need only tilt your ear to hear them. But others come like a storm to shake you awake and remind you that the soul cannot remain asleep forever. For life, if it ceases to move, ceases to live. Every change, gentle or fierce, is an invitation for you to journey deeper into the knowledge of yourself and of me. You cannot command the river to stop, nor can you still the wind, nor ask the heavens to cease their turning. The world was created in motion, and that motion is the very breath of the Creator. Yet while you cannot control the flow of time, you can prepare your soul. You can train your mind not to be swept away by chaos, and sharpen your heart to keep loving even in the day of trial. That is true freedom, not the power to change the world, but the grace to remain steadfast through every change. My child, it is in the moments when the familiar fades away, when the world around you seems to fracture, that the preparation within will become the stronghold shielding you from fear. For the one who is prepared is never taken by surprise. They are not alarmed when the winds rise, because they have already anchored their vessel. They do not stumble when the night falls, because their lamp has been kept alight. When I say to you, be prepared, I do not speak of storing up material things, but of storing up light within your soul. Strengthen your heart through prayer, train your mind in stillness, and refine your love through selflessness. These are the provisions that no storm can take from you. This preparation will not spare you from trials, but it will allow you to enter them with the dignity of one who understands their purpose. When others see confusion, you will see clarity. When others tremble, you will stand firm. When others are swept into the spiral of fear, you will remain unmoved in peace. That peace does not come from the world being calm, but from knowing whose hands hold the world. Remember this, peace is not the absence of wind, but the place where the wind cannot reach the roots of your soul. That is why I speak to you now while the sun still rises in its course, while the sky remains blue, while the leaves have yet to fall. Do not wait for the storm to come before you build your shelter. Do not wait for the night to fall before you seek the light. Be watchful in times of peace. for that is when slumber comes most easily. Know that the quiet days are not given for idleness, but for the soul's preparation for new chapters to come. Every peaceful breath today is a whisper that a greater movement is approaching, and you must be ready to enter it, not with fear, but with faith. There will come a day, my beloved child, when the patterns you once knew will be broken. The world will no longer look the way you remember it. When you awaken, you will feel the air has changed, heavier, denser, or perhaps brighter, but certainly no longer the same. The landscape of your life may shift so completely that you scarcely recognize it. Those you once leaned upon may depart not from fault, but because their journey has reached another turning. Opportunities you thought would always remain may dissolve, like morning dew in the sun. The structures you once relied upon, systems, work, relationships, even your own beliefs may begin to tremble. Do not be afraid, for this transformation is total, but it is not destruction. It is the way I dismantle the old to prepare for the new that is coming. What appears to be falling apart is, in truth, being rearranged to fit perfectly within my divine design. If you look through the eyes of the flesh, you will see chaos. But if you look through the eyes of the Spirit, you will see sacred order being restored. Just as when you plow the soil, the surface is turned and broken, but it is the first step toward the planting of new seeds. And in those days, the unprepared will panic, but the awakened will remain calm. Those who do not yet know trust will cling to what is old, while those who have cultivated faith will walk forward with open eyes, neither avoiding nor complaining, but observing with a heart ready to learn. They will discern the lesson in every change, the gift in every loss, the direction in every confusion. For, my child, loss is not always an ending. It may be the beginning of refinement. When a door closes, I do not take away, I teach you how to step through another door with stronger feet. Believe that I have never taken from you anything without preparing something far greater to give in return. Trials do not come to destroy you, but to reveal how strong you are when I live within you. You may feel lonely when you look around and see others in panic, clinging to what they can, lost and disoriented. Yet, my child, do not forget this. Those who know how to attune their hearts to the rhythm of eternity will always stand firm, for they do not lean on what shifts and fades, but on the one who never changes. They understand that time is but a wave, while I, the Creator, am the vast ocean that never runs dry. I want you to be among them, those who can hear the wind, but are not carried away by it, who can see the rising waves, yet do not fear drowning. Let your soul learn to align itself with the sacred tempo, as a musician tunes the strings of his instrument to the perfect pitch. When you live in harmony with that rhythm, even as the world changes its colors, you will still hear the symphony of life that never ceases to play. My child, I do not speak beforehand to make you afraid, but to make you ready. I do not warn you so that you might withdraw, but so that you may open your heart wider. For those who are awake do not shrink in fear. They extend their hands to welcome the newness that I bring. They do not look upon change with suspicion, but with faith that all things work together for the good of those who love God. And when that day comes, you will see that every change carries its own message. Some come to teach you patience, some to teach you release, some to teach you how to love more deeply, and others to teach you complete trust. If you walk through them with an open heart, you will no longer fear the turning of the world. You will know that behind every shaking, an unseen hand is rearranging all things toward eternity's design, and in that moment, your soul will mature. It will no longer ask, "Why is this happening?" but will say, "Lord, I am here. Teach me what I must learn from this." Then every season will become good, not because it is easy, but because you have learned how to find me in them all. Remember this, my child. The wise do not pray for the storm to pass. They prepare their ship. The spiritual do not ask time to stand still. They learn to move with it. And those who truly love me do not seek a life without trials. They ask for a faith deep enough to cross both the peaks and the valleys. Become such a person, one who keeps the lamp burning when the wind rises, who sings the song of peace when darkness falls. For such a soul is not shaken by the times, but becomes a pillar amidst change, a living witness that the light never goes out. My beloved child, do not confuse fear with awakening. When I speak to you about movements, cycles, and transformations of time, it is not a voice of judgment, but an invitation to wisdom. There are truths only the listening soul can perceive, the heartbeat of the universe itself. These are not omens to make you tremble, but lights to guide your steps. Every change carries a lesson within it, and every storm holds the seed of rebirth. Do not fear when the sky turns gray, for even in dark clouds there are flashes that light the way. Do not fear when the winds rise, for the wind is my breath stirring the lifeless parts within you. Time is not your enemy, it is the teacher of patience. The passing seasons are not meant to exhaust you, but to teach you how to walk in step with heaven and earth. When you understand that each moment is not mere passing but transformation, you will stop clinging and begin to flow. You will stop asking, "Why is this happening?" and begin asking, "Lord, what are you teaching me through this?" Then you will no longer drift helplessly in the current of fate, but will steer your soul with the rudder of awareness. My beloved child, know that timelines have souls. They listen to the whisper of your spirit, mirror your thoughts, and bend according to the vibration of faith or fear that flows from you. When you walk in faith and clarity, time becomes your ally. It opens doors, arranging strange coincidences that people call luck. But in truth, it is the universe responding to a soul that moves in harmony with the Father's will. Conversely, when fear governs your heart, the streams grow murky, paths close off, and you find yourself wandering in a maze with no exit, not because I desire to punish you, but because I want you to pause and listen. There are times when I let the wind blow against you, not to oppose you, but to strengthen your wings. I allow fragile things to break, not to wound you, but to teach you how to build upon solid ground. For if you only know how to soar when the wind is calm, you will never learn to balance in the storm. Likewise, if you only sing when all goes well, you will never grasp the sacred power of praise in the dark. Therefore, my child, do not fear what is coming. Stand in the light and watch. See life through the eyes of one who believes that nothing lies beyond the reach of God. Every falling leaf is a reminder of an ending, clearing the path for a new beginning. Every shift of the wind is an invitation to transformation. Every upheaval you witness is a sign that something is being realigned, not outside you, but within the depths of your own soul. The universe is not rebelling, it is recalibrating. The disturbance is not chaos, but the whisper of a new order taking form. When you understand this, you will cease to resist. You will stop asking, "When will the storm pass?" and begin asking, "What am I meant to learn within this storm?" I have placed within you the ability to sense the movement of seasons before they arrive. It is the intuition of the soul, the channel through which the Spirit speaks to you. When you feel uneasy without reason, do not rush to dismiss it. At times, it is not fear, but a holy warning bell from the realm of light, calling you to prepare. When you sense something shifting in the air, do not panic, awaken, listen. For before the physical storm comes, the spiritual one has already begun. If you can remain still in silence, you will hear what others cannot. But if you chase after noise, you will miss my voice. Awakening, my child, is not living in tension, but living in awareness. It is not anxious vigilance, but peaceful dwelling in light. A soul that is awake does not wait for events to happen, it remains ready. It does not tremble when the ground shakes, for it has built its house upon the rock. It does not grieve when winter arrives, for it knows the seed sleeps beneath the snow. The awakened one does not ask when the storm will cease, but whether their lamp still has enough oil. Like the wise virgins in the parable, keep your lamp of faith burning, for the hour of the Son of Man will come like a thief in the night. When you live in such awareness, you will pass through every trial with grace. You will no longer see yourself as a victim of circumstance, but as a student being shaped by the Master's hand. You will recognize that every wave was never meant to drown you, but to strengthen the force within you. And in every shaking, you will glimpse my face not in the thunder's roar, but in the gentle whisper of the breeze. Yet if you resist the flow, if you close your ears to the Spirit's nudge, you will be swept away not because I punish, but because you surrendered yourself to the whirlpool of ignorance. When you fight what is inevitable, you fall out of rhythm with grace. Know that resistance cannot stop destiny, it only makes the journey more painful. Surrender, however, is not defeat, it is harmony. When you surrender, you do not lose power, you gain it, for you have placed yourself within the current of the divine will itself. Time, my child, is the river of divine will. It carries within it the memory of all creation and the blueprint of the Creator. If you learn to row with faith, you will flow along its current toward the land of blessing. But if you struggle against it in confusion, you will grow weary and lose direction. Every moment you choose whether to trust or to doubt, to love or to fear, to listen or to ignore, becomes the rhythm of your oar that determines your course. Remember, even when you lose your way, that river still quietly carries you back toward the vast ocean. For grace always holds a countercurrent to rescue the souls who drift away. There is something deeper I want you to understand. Every cycle in your life plays the same melody, yet each time it sounds, it resonates in a higher key. You may face the same challenge again, but on a deeper level. You may hear a familiar lesson, but with a new echo. This is not repetition, it is elevation. So do not fear when you find yourself confronting what you thought you had already overcome. Know that I am lifting you to a higher octave of the same teaching. Every spiral is not a closed circle, but an upward coil ascending toward heaven. Each time you complete a lesson, you are drawn nearer to the light. My child, I know there are times when you feel weary. You say, Lord, why must I keep learning? Why must I keep facing the same things again and again? And I say to you, because I do not only want you to overcome, I want you to be transformed. To overcome is temporary, but to be transformed is eternal. True transformation cannot occur in ease, but through friction, like a stone being polished until it shines. When you understand this, you will cease to complain and begin to give thanks, even in pain. For the soul that can give thanks amid the storm is the soul heaven can entrust with power. Take notice, my child, that I do not demand perfection from you. I invite you to awaken, for the awakened one, even when they fall, falls toward the light. And that alone is enough for me to grasp their hand and lift them up. The sleeping soul may be standing yet still dwell in darkness, but the awakened soul, even in collapse, draws nearer to dawn. Do not fear the storm, for it only breaks apart what is not real. When the storm passes, you will see that the only thing left standing is the foundation I have laid within you, steady, steadfast, and eternal. My child, remember this. The world does not move against you. It moves to reflect what is within you. When you carry peace inside, the universe responds with order. When you emit the frequency of love, the timelines open before you like doors unlocking on their own. But if you sow doubt in your heart, the paths will seem blurred. It is not that the world has closed, it is that your eyes are not yet ready to see. For light is never lost, only unrecognized until your eyes awaken to it. Therefore, my child, walk in stillness that is filled with awareness. Listen for me in the wind, in the footsteps of passers-by, in the raindrops tapping at your window. Everything around you speaks the same message. Awaken, for my hour is near. Let your soul become as sensitive as a string tuned to perfect pitch, so that when the breath of the Spirit passes through, it vibrates in harmony with heaven. Then you will no longer wander asking, "What must I do?" For the rhythm of your life will already be the answer. You do not need to chase my will, you only need to move with my grace. And when you learn to flow in that current, you will pass through storms without fear. You will see in every raindrop a glimmer of light, in every thunderclap a call to awaken, and in every change a gentle hand shaping your soul. You will know that nothing is meaningless, that no event happens outside the design of love. When you live in that awareness, nothing will ever unsettle you again, for you will understand every movement belongs to the great symphony of God, and you are a single, sacred note within that divine harmony. My beloved child, tomorrow must not be treated as a repetition of today. Each morning is not merely a continuation, but a divine beginning, a sacred opportunity for your soul to take another step in eternity. Do not allow yourself to wake in the weariness of old habits, opening your eyes with dullness and walking without awareness. For every moment you are given, life is an invitation, a whisper from above reminding you that you are still chosen, still entrusted with the chance to awaken, to cooperate with the divine will in the wondrous flow of creation. Tomorrow, and every day after, must not pass in mediocrity, for grace is never mediocre. Each dawn is a fragment of heaven unfolding, waiting for your soul to enter with gratitude and attention. Look back on your past days, my child, and you will see how often you lived without truly living. You breathed, yet did not realize that each breath was the rhythm of divine life itself. You spoke, but did not recognize that every word you uttered carried a frequency capable of building or destroying. You walked, yet forgot that every step could sow seeds of light or of shadow. Now, I want you to understand awareness is a sacred act. When you offer your gaze to a flower, to a brother, to a prayer, you are offering worship to God. When you live with the understanding that every choice bears eternal weight, you will cease to dismiss what seems small and begin to revere every second of the present moment. My child, there will be days as light as breath when sunlight spills across the eaves and your soul feels as calm as still waters. But there will also be days heavy as storm clouds when the sky darkens, when everything familiar seems to break apart, when prayer becomes nothing more than a faint sigh of despair. Both kinds of days are sacred. Do not choose to love only the season of sunshine while rejecting the rain. Do not think that peace alone is the sign of grace. It is in the storm that grace reveals itself most completely, as gold shines only when tested by fire. Therefore, do not fear when the winds change, nor tremble when the ground beneath you quakes. See these shifts as signals of something being born, the first cry of a new season. Do you not perceive, my child, that every movement in your life follows a divine rhythm? Each joy eventually closes to make room for growth. Each trial fades to open the path toward deeper understanding. All are cycles of life, not to confuse you, but to lead you to the center where I dwell. When you notice the signs of change, do not call them coincidences. Nothing is random in my kingdom. Every event, however small, is a brushstroke in the great masterpiece I am painting. Each shift of the wind is my whisper, "Prepare yourself, my child. The old season is ending, and the new one is about to begin." Yet when you perceive these signs, I do not want you to grow rigid. Do not close the door of your heart out of fear of the storm. Do not lock your soul away in the name of protection, for rigidity will cause you to break when the winds rise. The tree that bends with the wind endures. It survives because it knows how to yield. The prepared soul is not the one that builds walls, but the one that listens and responds. You cannot control the weather, but you can learn to read the sky. You cannot command the wind to stop, but you can learn how to set your sail rightly. This is the art of the awakened, not resisting what comes, but moving with it in deep understanding. True strength, my child, does not lie in keeping everything the same, but in the ability to adapt without losing your essence. Water flows over stone, yet it does not lose itself. It remains water, gentle, pure, and strong enough to carve mountains. I want you to be like water, knowing when to rest and when to move, when to be tender and when to be firm. Do not mistake flexibility for weakness. In my hands, flexibility is the tool of eternity. For the one who bends with the will of the Father will never be broken by the world. A prepared heart, my beloved, is not one that clings to certainty, but one that opens in trust. As long as you hold tightly to the old, you cannot receive the new that I am about to give. Only when your hands release can mine place a new gift within them. True faith is not grasping, but surrendering in stillness, allowing me to lead. Like a child holding its father's hand in the dark, it does not need to know the destination, only to trust that the Father's hand has never let go. My beloved child, a prepared mind is one that no longer trembles before change. It does not ask, why, but rather, what am I meant to learn? It does not resist, it observes. It does not strive to control, but to understand. For when you truly believe that everything unfolding lies within my permission, fear loses its grip. Fear only dwells in the one who thinks they must hold up the entire universe alone. But when you know that the universe is working with you, not against you, every anxiety dissolves. Then change no longer feels like a threat, but an invitation. Grow. I know. There will be days when everything feels too heavy. There will be moments when you stand at a crossroads, unsure which way to go, for every path seems veiled in mist. Yet, my child, within that fog, my light still flickers. You do not need to see the whole road, only the next step. Every step taken in faith becomes a door that opens. I have never asked you to know everything. I have only wanted you to know one thing, that I am there. When you move, I move with you. When you tremble, I uphold you. When you fall, I bend down to lift you. So do not fear the days ahead, even when they no longer follow a familiar pattern. Do not call a day bad simply because it carries dark clouds. The clouds are but a curtain hiding the brilliance behind them. Do not despair when you see things around you closing: a job, a relationship, a dream, a plan. Sometimes I close a door not to punish, but to protect you from what no longer fits your growing soul. A seed cannot sprout if it clings to its shell, and so it is with your spirit. It must be freed from its old form to enter a season of new life. My child, time is not abandoning you, it is guiding you. Its currents are carrying you to the place I have already prepared. Whether you feel you are drifting or struggling, remember that the waters of my will always flow toward the sea of grace. All I ask of you is this: keep your heart tender, your gaze steady, and your faith alight. Everything else I will take care of. And when you learn to welcome change with a quiet heart, you will begin to see the subtle miracles hidden in every movement. You will start to hear the language of the wind, to read the signs written in light, to feel the heartbeat of the earth. Then you will understand that life never ceases to sing, and as you listen, its song will lead you home. I want you to know this too. Preparation is not a one-time act, but a rhythm of life. It does not happen only on special occasions, but within every ordinary breath. When you wash your face with gratitude, when you work with a spirit of service, when you forgive in silence, that is when you are preparing. Great souls are not forged on the day of glory, but in mornings that seem unremarkable. They shine not because they are favored, but because they have learned to live each day with the awareness that every small act can bear the mark of eternity. Therefore, my child, do not take any morning lightly. Do not treat any word carelessly. Do not overlook any moment. Everything can become an altar if you bring to it a heart of gratitude. Every place can become a sanctuary if you enter it with reverence. When you live this way, you will see that every day is sacred, every hour is a prayer, every minute is an act of worship. Then you will no longer wait for Sunday to worship, for your whole life will have become a hymn of worship. Remember, my child, a prepared soul is soft, yet steadfast. It does not sway with the wind, for its roots are deep in love. It does not fear change, for it knows the immutable one lives within. When you reach that place, you will walk through every season in peace. You will no longer pray for the storm to pass quickly, but for the wisdom to learn what it brings. You will not seek to avoid pain, but to find me within it. And when you find me there, you will know you are truly prepared. Now, my child, pray like this. Heavenly Father, today as I bow before your presence, my soul trembles at the urgent call that echoes from heaven. You cannot wait until tomorrow, for tomorrow will come with the wind of change. I hear your voice, within me quiet yet resolute, saying, "Be prepared." And my heart, though unrefined, knows that this is not a warning, but an invitation into awakening. Oh, Father, help me that when a new day arrives, the first thing I seek is not comfort, not habit, but you, the light that transcends every dawn. Let my first breath be gratitude, and my first thought be awareness that I am not alone, that every heartbeat is proof you are near, upholding me with a love that never tires. Lord, teach me how to begin tomorrow with courage. When I open my eyes to a world that keeps turning, let me not seek the familiar, but the sacred. Teach me to see miracles in small things, in my breath, in the breeze, in the tender touch of light. Let me know that everything carries your word. When I hear the wind, let me remember you are speaking. When I feel silence, let me remember you are still present. Teach me to listen more deeply, beyond the noise of the world, until I can hear the gentle, yet mighty, sound of your voice, the sound that only a quiet heart can recognize. I know that what you give me is not a command, but a tender guidance. Open the ears of my heart to perceive the map of light, that I may walk not in fear, but in awareness. Father, when tomorrow rises with its trials, let me remember that the storm is not the enemy, but the teacher. Let me not be afraid when truths are unveiled, even when they burn the soul. Let me know that light is born only when I dare to face the darkness. Teach me to walk without trembling, for you have said I am held securely in your hands. When the world around me falls into chaos, let me keep peace within, not a fragile peace, but one built upon faith that nothing escapes your sight. I know that every small act I make resounds through eternity. Let every step I take, every word I speak, every thought I form, bear the mark of wisdom. Let me begin each day not with fear, but with the deep trust that you are orchestrating all things with infinite goodness. Lord, I thank you for teaching me to see the rhythm hidden beneath all change. I have learned that this world, like the four seasons, is always moving, always transforming, and each season carries its sacred purpose. When spring arrives, let me sow seeds of hope. When summer comes, let me labor with joy. When autumn returns, let me release what is no longer needed. And when winter falls, let me rest in trust, letting the roots of faith grow deep in the soil of grace. Let me not fear change, for within it are your arms of instruction. When the ground beneath me shakes, remind me that those who prepare and listen will not be swept away. Let me be among them, the one who stands firm amidst turning tides, who sees purpose in every loss, and who finds light in every storm. Lord, I understand that I cannot stop rivers from flowing nor command winds to cease, but I can prepare my soul. Help me sharpen my awareness, train my mind, and widen my heart, so that when the midst familiar dissolves, I will not be afraid. Grant me vision when others see confusion, strength when others falter, and peace when others despair. When the world trembles, let me perceive your hand in every event. When all I know is being rearranged, let me not see it as loss, but as an invitation into a new chapter of grace. I know that you do not come to frighten me, but to give me the strength to walk through the movement of destiny. Let me hear the whispers of time's rivers, so I may know when to move, when to pause, and when to kneel in silence. Lord, teach me the lesson of the prepared soul. Do not let me overlook the small signs you send. When the wind changes its course, let me perceive it. When the sky alters its hue, let me understand that a cycle is closing. When old opportunities fade, let me see the new path unfolding. Let me be fluid like water, strong like wind, steadfast like light. I do not wish to be a rigid soul clinging to what has passed, but a responsive one, moving, learning, transforming. Teach me how to flow with the current instead of resisting it, for I know that stability is but a fleeting moment in the endless dance of life. Change is the sacred rhythm, the breath of eternity. Let me not fear the turning of time, but welcome it as a guest from heaven bearing a divine lesson. Lord, help me understand that no ending is ever truly an ending, and no loss is without the seed of rebirth hidden within it. When I see a leaf fall, let me remember that it is only returning to the earth to prepare for another season of blossoming. When I must release what is familiar, let me trust that you are opening the way to something better. When the threads of time intertwine and the world rearranges itself, let me not tremble, for I know there is an eternal thread woven through all things, and that thread is you. You are the unchanging truth, the light that never fades, the presence that never departs. Anchor my soul in you, so that when storms rise, I may remain in peace. When the winds of destiny howl, I may stand firm, for I know whose hand holds my fate. Father, when I awaken tomorrow, let me not only open my eyes, but also my heart. Let me not only step out of bed, but step into awareness. Teach me to see the lesson within every change, the opportunity within every ending, the miracle within every moment. Let me act not out of fear, but out of harmony. Let me live not in reaction, but in consciousness. And even when I stumble, even when I am swept away, remind me that I can rise again because the river still flows, the seasons still turn, and your grace still surrounds me. Let every day begin with gratitude and end with love. Let me become a light in another's night, a living testimony that the soul who prepares will never be carried away. Father, I am ready. Lead me through this season of change with open eyes and a heart ablaze in you. I offer this prayer in the holy name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Do not forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so that together we may build a strong and living community of faith.